Hi, welcome to Project Geospatial. I'm Adam Simmons here, and we are post GEOINT, but we still have quite a few companies and organizations to talk about with the GEOINT symposium that was here in the recent week or two. One of those companies is of high interest to us to learn more about, and that is Terradepth. And here with us, sir, thank you for joining us, first of all. But go ahead and give us an introduction of who you are, and then we'll dive right into who Terradepth is.
Yeah, hey Adam, thanks for having me. My name is Andrew Lunstad. I am Terradepth's CTO. I've been working in computing for a long time. Started out with 3D graphics way back before it was a thing, with a 3D graphics accelerator company. Went from that into doing video games, networking, industrial networking, SaaS applications. And so somehow that all came together for me in Terradepth. So now what I do at Terradepth is I lead our engineering efforts.
Awesome. So, how did Terradepth come to be? And first of all, who is Terradepth? What are you? What is the company meant to do? What types of products and services are they focused on? Just give us a quick rundown.
Yeah, so Terradepth is a company, really simple. What we want to do is help people make better decisions about the ocean, what to do in the ocean, what to do around the ocean, right? And that's actually a challenging thing because we know shockingly little about what's under the surface, right? The classic story that's shared, and it's true, is that we know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the floor of the ocean. And the simple reason for that is because I can see the surface of Mars from my backyard if it's not cloudy and I have a telescope. Sometimes when I'm in the ocean, I can't even see my feet when I'm standing waist deep in it because water absorbs light, more so when it's cloudy, but even when it's not, light only penetrates the first couple hundred meters, right? So what that means is that we want to help, if we're going to help people to make better decisions about the ocean, we're going to need to do a few things. Number one, we're going to have to gather a lot more data because, as I shared earlier, we've only mapped about a quarter of the ocean. Number two, we're going to have to make that data easier to interact with, drastically improve the user experience around ocean data. And that's in a variety of ways that we do that. We have two basic engineering efforts that kind of go after both of those. In one, we're building some subsea robotics, really high endurance autonomous underwater vehicle that can collect volumes of ocean data in a way that isn't possible today. Then we also have a data platform called Absolute Ocean. And in Absolute Ocean, we can integrate all kinds of data from wherever it comes in, and we can make it available to users in a permissioned and controllable way to help people, again, like I said, make better decisions about the ocean.
So, would you say you don't just analyze the data coming from different sensor platforms that are across the ocean? You actually do the data collection yourselves? Do you have a series of drones that you utilize, or do you outsource that?
We do, well, I mean, all of the above, really.
Okay.
The idea that we're going to collect all the data that there is to collect in the ocean is just certainly not true today. And I don't think it's ever true in the future, too, because there's just too many different parts of the ocean, too many different requirements for getting to the really deep parts, the really cold parts, the really shallow parts, the shore. There's just different types of devices, different types of sensors that you can use in any of these locations. So from the platform point of view, from Absolute Ocean, we are very sensor agnostic, right? We don't care how you bring that data in. We even, host terrestrial data there that's above the surface of the ocean as a way to augment, kind of the shore collections that we do. But the general point that I guess that I want to make here is that we aren't locked into a single platform in terms of how we collect the data, but we enable the data however it comes in by using some common industry standard file types to import that data into Absolute Ocean in a way that allows people to interact with it, share it, make decisions, without having to go through the effort of learning some of the more deeply specialized engineering tools that I think people use a lot today for such activity.
Well, that's fair enough. However, talking about ocean data, that spans a lot. Can you help us narrow down understanding the different use cases that you most likely tackle right now? Obviously, it can be very expansive, but what are the primary ones that you focus on?
Yeah. So look, there's if you want to talk about who's operating in the ocean and who needs to make these decisions, it's a smaller set of people than use terrestrial data. And the simple reason for that is we can't just go underwater, right? Most of humanity's activities around the ocean are at the surface. So the exceptions to that, the places, and I'll probably miss something as I run through this with you, but just to give you some examples is, look, obviously, offshore energy, right? Whether it is, wind turbines that are placed in the ocean, oil drilling in the ocean, pipelines running in the ocean, power infrastructure, cables running in the ocean, all of that offshore energy really requires a detailed understanding about what's happening beneath the waves. Secondly, there are cases like just the NOAAs of the world, right? Who just need to understand it for a variety of reasons, including resource management, including creation of navigational charts, et cetera. And then, of course, the navies of the world also, from a defense point of view, will care about what's happening under the surface of the ocean, right? So they are also very involved and in this space.
You mentioned energy and potentially looking at. So it sounds like you survey ahead of time where some of this construction might take place. From maybe if they need to put new wind turbines in, or if they need to lay down cable. You're a company that somebody might reach out to and say, "Can you do a survey of this area? We can assess the area."
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. One of the one arm of the business that I didn't highlight earlier when I was talking about the things that we are developing is that we do have the ability to go out and do surveys using consumer off-the-shelf AUVs and other platforms that are available today to do those surveys. And we do it for a variety of reasons. Number one, to serve our customers, give them the data that they need, right? But number two, as a company that's trying to change the way that people interact with ocean data, to move from a place where they are interacting with it, on desktops by mailing hard drives to each other, or otherwise using kind of old school ways of managing data, into a world where through our web platform, Absolute Ocean, kind of interact with the data in a shared way. Um, we really enable all of those different use cases. And in order to do that effectively, it helps for us to, in effect, eat our own dog food, right? Use our own products and find out, how it really helps our customers and how it, could maybe be improved.
No, excellent. I want to talk briefly before we move on to a couple of the visualization and the data aspects of this. Can you talk a little bit about the some of the maybe unmanned vehicles that you are used to operating with?
Yeah, so we've operated with a number of them, and this is not in my role that I operate directly with them, although I get to work with them a little bit, but mostly around the data side of it. But we've worked with AUVs from Teledyne, the Gavia platform. We have a number of those in house that we use for surveys for a variety of customers. Secondly, we've worked with some autonomous surface vehicle platforms in order to import data that they've collected autonomously there. We have also done some just kind of standard data where we have a surface boat and we drive around and we collect it by running the track lines ourselves and scanning underwater. But again, all of these different types of collection kind of go into the same platform as the goal.
And that platform, as you've sort of hinted at earlier in the conversation, is Absolute Ocean, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. And talk about a little bit about Absolute Ocean, what it is overall. It's not just a place to host all this data; it's a way to manage it and visualize it too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I wish I was set up to kind of show you some bits of it right now, but essentially, it's built on top of a Cesium engine, right? So we use CesiumJS, their open source code for the front end, and it allows you to start out with a view of the entire world. And as you look at that world, just like in your background, there are different lights showing, the different spots where there are population centers that are lighting up the night sky. So it is with our platform as the different surveys that are located around the world. Thousands of them light up as different individual surveys. And what you can do is using kind of standard, interfaces that we've gotten to used to using through the various mapping applications we've used, select a certain area, zoom into a certain area, and bring up both the most recent as well as historical surveys that happen there. And what this does then is it allows the people who are making decisions about that area to not just have the latest survey that they maybe ordered there, but they can look at the history of that undersea location, understand how the sand or how the seabed moves, over seasons, over years. When there's a hurricane, for example, we have pre and post hurricane surveys where it's the exact same area. And you can use a swipe tool to easily go back and forth and see, okay, this is how the hurricane changed it, post, the winds and the waves. So all these tools are things that we're used to, right, when we're dealing with a lot of terrestrial data or in other, kind of more technologically advanced areas. But it's been really missing from the undersea environment. And so what we've really done through Absolute Ocean is made those same type of tools that we're used to using in a Google Maps or what have you sort of interface available for the undersea world.
Excellent. And looking at your website right now, as you're talking to me about Absolute Ocean, do you just host on one cloud, AWS, or do you work with the other Google Cloud platform? How does that interaction with leveraging different cloud services? How do you do that and interact with Cesium at the same time? What's the relationship there?
Yeah, so everything changes over time, right? I mean, how it is with technology, nothing is a constant. We actually started originally in the Google Cloud platform, loved it. It was very effective for us. But then when we started doing more work in government spaces, because government has some unique requirements, we opened it up in AWS GovCloud. So then we were multi-cloud, and that ended up being a lot of friction for us to manage multiple different cloud platforms. And so now we've consolidated all within AWS, and throughout all of that, we have used Cesium capabilities. Originally, just using some of their cloud services way back in the early days of us building our service. But as we've started to host more customer data and more data that is more sensitive, we need to comply with the security requirements of our customers. And so we've moved to a self-hosted model, which allows us to host in GovCloud, for information that needs to meet government security rules. We host in AWS for kind of standard commercial security rules. And then we also, because Cesium supports self-hosted, we have the ability to self-host or to allow people to self-host Absolute Ocean within their own enterprise. Right. So all of these are different ways that we go to market and ways that we're actively engaging with the geospatial community.
No, excellent, excellent. Is the Absolute Ocean, is that also a way for your customers to request tasking or analysis on the data as well, or do you have a different way of doing that, or is it just a way of visualizing and managing the data that's been collected?
Yeah, so right now we aren't offering this as sort of a shopping platform, if you will, for geospatial data, as sometimes happens with satellite data. I won't say that we would never operate such a thing, but right now the reality is that for traditional survey methods, it's just so expensive, right? And we've mapped so little of it. It's not like with satellites you can scan the whole world a few times a day, right? Every time the satellite goes around. But what we do enable is within the scope of a contracted survey, right? If an organization wants to say, "Hey, go survey, whatever area," rather than waiting for that boat to transit all the way out to the place where the survey is going to happen, do all the scanning, transit all the way back, and then do the processing. Because we've web enabled this, we can allow kind of daily reports and interactive capability of monitoring the progress of a survey that you care about. And this helps in a variety of ways, right? Number one, let's say you missed a spot, what we call holidays in surveys. You can find that out just as you kind of upload a daily support or a daily report to Absolute Ocean, right? And the customer can say, "Oh, you need to go back and resurvey that spot before that vessel has transited all the way back to port, right? So it really increases the efficiency to have this enhanced communication around it. Further, any other stakeholders that you have in that, whether you want to talk to regulators or partners who are working in the area, construction people, because we can allow other people to log into the platform, right? It's the standard web advantages, right? Where it allows people to collaborate in a painless way without having to install additional applications or learn unfamiliar interfaces.
Awesome. Great. What am I missing? Is there anything about Terradepth that you would like our audience to know that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, there's a lot of stuff, but what I can say that is very interesting and a growing area, and we've demonstrated some of this at conferences recently, is when you start marrying this capability of surveying with the ability to host absolute ocean at the edge, right, and allow people to, as the data is being collected, almost be able to see it and interact with it, even prior to transiting all of that massive data set to the cloud. The ability for organizations to really enhance the the speed with which they're able to make decisions about the surveys and the information that's coming in, to take it from a point of currently like months, into a place where that same day you can see what was surveyed that morning. It really changes your ability to move from scan to decision, and it's something we're really excited about.
And for those looking to find out more information about Terradepth, where can they go?
Well, you can go to our website, terradepth.com. Certainly reach out to me. Whether you are just interested in working with us as a customer, or if you're interested in doing this type of work, we are a growing company, and it's always nice to hear from new people.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, I appreciate your time. It's been great learning about Terradepth and the awesome marriage of not just the ocean surveying and data analysis that you do, but also the interesting marriage between Cesium and the bigger geospatial industry too. So that's really, really, really fascinating. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to talk.